From Indira to Vajpayee, India learned to fight US tariffs. Now it's Modi's turn. A country once dismissed by world powers as poor, backward, and helpless. A nation whose identity was tied to hunger and debt, seen only as part of the struggling third world. And then suddenly, that very nation tore through the earth's crust with such force that governments from Washington to Tokyo were shaken. In one single moment, the balance of global power shifted. The question arose, was this the same India that once had to look toward the US for aid and food? Yes, it was the same India that stunned the world in 1974 and again in 1998. But this story is not only about nuclear tests. This is the story of India and America, of clashes, struggles, and eventually partnership. This is the story of a nation that challenged every sanction, every tariff, every pressure, and emerged stronger than before. Today, we will dive deep into this subject. But before that, if you're new to our channel, don't forget to subscribe so that you get all our latest updates first. So, without any delay, let's begin today's discussion. Imagine India in 1974. The country was still charged with the euphoria of victory in the Bangladesh War. Indira Gandhi, at that time, was hailed as the Iron Lady. The world continued to see India as a poor and struggling nation. But Indira's vision was different. She knew that if India truly wanted to become self-reliant and strong, it had to acquire nuclear power. And when, in the deserts of Pokhran, the first nuclear test took place on 18th May 1974, the world was stunned. Known as Smiling Buddha, this test was India's declaration of strength. But in Washington, leaders did not take this smile kindly. The US immediately unleashed a wave of sanctions. Nuclear technology and supplies were cut off. Allied nations were pressured to distance themselves from India. The Nuclear Suppliers Group, NSG, was formed to keep countries like India away from nuclear fuel and technology. American newspapers ran scathing headlines, "India defies the world order." But Indira Gandhi refused to bow to pressure. She declared, "This step is a symbol of India's national security and self-respect. We will not back down." This firmness laid the foundation for the decades to come. The journey from 1974 to 1998 was anything but easy. Because of sanctions, India had no direct access to advanced technology or modern weapons. But this had the opposite effect. It pushed India to focus on indigenous research and development. During this period, institutions like BARC, Bhabha Atomic Research Center, and DRDO, Defense Research and Development Organization, made remarkable progress. Gradually, India started walking firmly on the path of self-reliance. Another bold move by Indira Gandhi was forging a strategic partnership with the Soviet Union. This gave India powerful backing on the international stage. America was displeased, but India was in no mood to retreat. In the 1990s, India's story reached an even more fascinating turning point. The economic liberalization of 1991 was giving the country a new direction. The world no longer saw India merely as a developing nation, but as an emerging market. Yet in 1998, Atal Bihari Vajpayee took a step that shook international politics, Pokhran too. Vajpayee's style was unique. Even in his calm demeanor and poetry-like language, he carried the firmness of steel. Just a few months after becoming Prime Minister, he gave the scientists a clear order. India no longer needed to hide. Between May 11th and 13th, 1998, 5 nuclear explosions shook the sands of Rajasthan and sent a powerful message to the world. India was now, officially, a nuclear power. Buddha has smiled again. These words were etched into history. But the US could not accept this. Then President Bill Clinton imposed the harshest sanctions on India. Economic aid was halted. Attempts were made to block billions of dollars in loans from the IMF and World Bank. Arms supplies and technology transfers were cut off. According to official US figures, $6 million from the Greenhouse Gas Elimination Program and $21 million in economic assistance were immediately suspended. To mount pressure, America even leveraged global institutions. The situation was extremely difficult. India was already grappling with development challenges, and now international support was being withdrawn. But Vajpayee made it clear, sanctions cannot and will not hurt us. This statement was not just about morale, it was strategy. India had shown the world that sanctions could not stop its steps forward. The sanctions did have an impact. Many infrastructure projects were stalled. Foreign companies pulled back. Access to advanced technology became difficult. But within the country, there was an atmosphere of pride. Newspapers carried headlines. Now we are truly a nuclear power. Ordinary citizens said with pride, even if today is difficult, a safe and strong India will rise for our children. It was this emotional strength that made the sanctions ineffective. In 1999, the Kargil war broke out. Even under the burden of sanctions, India defeated Pakistan. This victory proved that sanctions could not stop India's military strength. Even the American media began to acknowledge that India's determination had stunned the world. Slowly, Washington's policy began to shift. In 2000, President Bill Clinton visited India, the first visit by US President in 22 years. He was welcomed in Delhi, Hyderabad, and Mumbai. This trip was a clear signal that even the US had accepted India could no longer be ignored. Around this period, relations between the two countries began to warm. In 2001, George W. Bush became president, and after 9/11, the global war on terror began. India extended its support to the US. This cooperation deepened ties further. In 2005, Manmohan Singh and Bush together initiated the historic Indo-US Civil Nuclear Agreement. By 2008, the deal was finalized, and India was formally recognized as a nuclear power. This was the same India that had once been targeted with sanctions to be subdued. But history did not stop there. In 2018, Donald Trump became president and launched a trade war. He imposed high tariffs on India, hitting industries like textiles, jewelry, and fisheries especially hard. Trump argued that India was misusing access to the American market. But India quickly adapted its strategy. New export markets were explored, and emphasis was placed on strengthening indigenous production. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, from the Red Fort, appealed, "We must become self-reliant, not out of desperation, but with pride." Shopkeepers and traders were encouraged to display boards reading "Made in India." Once again, the same spirit arose among the people that had been seen in 1998, sanctions or tariffs cannot stop us. Even today, in 2025, the situation feels much the same. America is once again wielding tariffs as a weapon. On the issue of buying oil from Russia, India is facing pressure. But India's stance is firm. There will be no compromise on energy security and national interest. This is the same confidence that Indira Gandhi and Atal Bihari Vajpayee once demonstrated. Former Niti Aayog CEO Amitabh Kant has said, "This is a moment of opportunity for India. We must diversify our export markets and implement major reforms." And indeed, that is the way forward. History has shown that every sanction has ultimately marked the beginning of a new era for India. 1974 showed India the path of self-reliance. 1998 forced the world to acknowledge India's strength. 2008 gave India formal recognition as a nuclear power. 2018 taught India the lesson of trade diversification. And now it is 2025, India stands as the world's fifth largest economy and is on the path to becoming a superpower in the coming decade.
If you have any questions or suggestions, please let us know in the comments. It will be our honor to answer your questions and listen to suggestion. And yes, if you like our content, Subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon so that you stay connected with every news story. Thank you. GRT Business YouTube channel sources news from various news agencies, opinion polls, and other public sources. We try to ensure that every report and summary is accurate and verified, but we are not responsible for any dispute or error. Our aim is only to provide you with accurate information.